feels so abstract. Yeah, it's complicated. What you say, the way you act, well, it makes me so confused. I don't know what to do anymore. Can't you just make up your mind? My heart drops when you play around. How can you be up when I'm down? Don't wanna think about it right now. Maybe you just wanna be friends, but there's a fight when we are talking. Maybe you just wanna pretend, but I can read between the lines. Even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting, still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. How it hurts to see you smile, like a dagger in me. She just seems so juvenile. I just want it to be me. I wanna set your world on fire. Oh, just so sure I'll stick around. Oh, my heart drops when you play around. How can you be up when I'm down? Don't wanna think about it right now. Maybe you just wanna be friends, but there's a fight when we are talking. Maybe you just wanna pretend, but I can read between the lines. Even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting, still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. Oh, even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting, still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free with me. Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for coming back. We are in our last segment of the day for the Card Maker Success Summit Demo Day. My name is Brandy Mahon, and I am the creative owner of Stamp Me Some Love blog, shop, and academy. And I'm so excited that you're here with us today. Demo Day is something that we do twice a year. Our last one was in June, and of course, we're in November getting ready for the holidays. And we are bringing our favorite sponsors in to demonstrate some of their products and give us some tips and tricks on how to improve our card making techniques. All right, you guys. We have Karen Burniston. I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right. Hopefully she'll correct me when she comes on, from KB Riley. And she is going to show us some amazing cards. She was kind of giving me a sneak peek behind the curtain backstage. And I was super excited to see what she says. All right, so let me bring her to the stage. Hello.
Hi. Hi, Brandy.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Awesome. All right, Harry, let's go ahead and put up the demo for, or the promo for KB Riley. All right, so Karen, looks like we've got a exclusive promo code from KB Riley. I'm really super excited. Pop-up 20 gets us 20% off. Make sure you use the link that is scrolling across the screen so you can take advantage of that promotion. All right, Karen, what are we going to make today?
Okay, well, my specialty, if you're unfamiliar with me and our brand, KB Riley, is pop-up dies. That's kind of always been my thing, is pop-up cards. And so we have, I think, 62 different pop-up dies that we offer.
Wow.
And then a whole bunch of different decorator dies as well to go with them. And so tonight, we're getting into the Christmas spirit and stuff. So I thought I would show one of our easier pop-ups, which is actually our little street lantern pop-up.
Look at that.
And then we've got our little tiny gnomes and stuff to go in it. So one of those ones that you probably could produce a bunch of them if you wanted to do them, for Christmas. And but then of course I have some more elaborate cards to show you.
Ooh, I can't wait.
As samples and things.
All right, Karen. Well, I'm going to let you go solo on screen.
Okay.
You have the stage, my friend.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining me. I am actually a little new to live streaming. I did like one of these, I don't know, a month ago, and I was very, very nervous. I feel a little less nervous tonight, so that's good. But yes, so we are a die cutting company. We basically offer dies. We have about 215 different dies, I think, between our pop-ups and all of our accessory dies that go with them. Our website is KarenBurniston.com, which is my name. And my business partner is Tanya Kostanek, who owns Riley & Company. So we kind of went in cahoots with each other to start this company in 2017. And it's, we love it. It's great. I get to do what I love, which is design cool dies and then use them all the time. We're not a stamp company. We're a die company. That's what we do. We just do dies. So most of what I'll show you tonight is things that you can make with just combining dies together. Okay, so I'm going to switch me here this way. So I'm still up here in the corner, but you can kind of see what's on my desk now. So, and the other thing too, is I do have my daughter Ash in the room with me, who will call out any questions you will have, since I'll be kind of focused downward on doing the demo. The dies we're featuring tonight for this card here, let me give you a little closer look at this one. So this one, like I said, it uses our street lantern pop-up, and then we've added our little tiny gnomes here and some of our other decorator dies on to the card. And so the dies that we're using are our street lantern pop-up. This is how our packaging is. You can see the dies in the back that come in that set. You do get instructions on your packaging for the pop-up dies, but I do a video on every single one of them. So really, honestly, I like to tell people the packaging instructions are for when you're camping and you don't have an internet connection and you have to remember how to use your dies, because everyone takes their dies camping. But if you have access to the internet, you'll just go watch the YouTube video for how to put them all together. I also do videos even on our decorator dies. So we'll be using the tiny gnomes for this card tonight. And there is a full video for how to put that together on our YouTube channel. And then for the greeting, we're doing Merry Christmas along with the coordinating shadow die. Those are sold separately, but they do coordinate perfectly. And then for a little stitched edge on our snow here, we're going to use the Nature Edges die set. And I think some or all of these are in the prize tonight too, that we'll be drawing for at the end. Not to spoil it, but okay. So I hate to run out of time on live demos, so I did a little bit of work ahead of time. So the first thing I did is I cut a card. So I just did you are in charge of your card size with our dies, which is another nice feature. And for this one, I went with 6 inches wide by 5 inches tall. So then that's doubled. So this is a 10-inch by 6-inch piece of cardstock. Just any weight cardstock, just a medium weight is fine. And then I added some pattern paper. This is just a piece of pattern paper from Photoplay that had that cool little journaling card on it. So I just cut it out and put it on the front. And then I went ahead and decorated the inside as well. So more of those Photoplay papers just cut down to a little bit smaller than the panel size. Then there's my Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas shadow, cut out of glitter paper and then a white cardstock glued together and then put up at the top of the card. And then I always like to give myself a place to write a personal greeting and sign the card. So just a couple squares of cardstock and then the wreath that came out of the street lantern set. So I kind of did that stuff ahead of time so I could jump right into the stuff you really want to see, which is the pop-ups. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside for a second. And are there any questions? Nope, no questions. All right, cool. I'll carry on. So one thing that's kind of cool about those nature edges is that they cut the stitch lines on both sides of the edge, right? So it's just a 5.5-inch edger die. And so the one that does the hills has the stitch lines on both sides. So does the clouds. Clouds has stitch lines on both sides. So you have the opportunity to do something like this, which is cut right down, through the middle of a piece of paper. And then when you snip that apart, because we just had that paper be a little bit wider than the die, I think that's 5 3/4. Then that's a little time saver because now you've got 2 hills, both of them stitched with one cut. And one of my little hills is going to go on the front of the card here. So that's something I like to do if I'm doing pattern paper as most of my decor, and I do use a lot of pattern paper on the fronts of cards and things. Then I'll mix in a few die cut elements just to still give it that handmade look, So I like to do that. So I'm going to put my little hill there. I probably should have left that a little undone to be able to tuck my street lantern in, but I'll get it in there. So I'm a glue person. My favorite glue is Line Co. Neutral pH adhesive, and I put it in these fine tip bottles that we sell on our website. And we sell a little 4-ounce bottle of that glue as well that you can certainly put in the fine tip bottles. And then to keep that glue flowing while you're crafting, a great tip that I got actually initially from a student at a retreat I was at, Joanne, is she just had a wee yogurt jar with a little damp paper towel in it. And she had her needle tip down in that paper towel. And I mean, that glue just stays flowing for your entire crafting experience. It doesn't clog up. And then a student, Donna, gave me this really pretty clay jar. So now I've got a fancy jar for my glue. But yeah, that's such a good tip. If you have needle tip glue bottles, whether they came from us or anyone, keep them in a little damp paper towel in a jar, and then it'll keep your glue flowing. Okay, so front of the card, I added that set of hills. I added that strip of paper. And then now let's jump into that street lantern die set. Let me grab that die set so you can see the pieces that come in it. We always tell you how many pieces are in the set. There's 8 in there. And even if you peel those dies up, there's actually a little drawing of the die underneath it. So you can always, so I always tell people, keep your packaging. Even if you transfer your dies themselves onto something like a magnet sheet, keep your packaging so that you always have the instructions and so that you always have the little index of how many dies are in it and what they look like. Who's ever lost a die, right, on your table? Or no, it's not you've lost a die, so you found a die. You find a die on your table and you have no idea where it came from, right? So these little packagings can be helpful for that. So the street lantern itself is cut in a couple different pieces. So the pole is cut separately than the lantern because you may choose to use it just as a cool decorative pole, and you could even snip off those side flourishes if you wanted to and use that, on its own. So there's different ways you can put it together, kind of shown on the front of the packaging here. You could have your lantern hanging off of one of those swirls, or you could put the lantern as a single, or you could do a triple lantern, or you could do just a pole with a wreath or something on it. So there's just different ways that you can combine those pieces. But we're gonna do lanterns, street lanterns tonight. So what I'm going to do, I've done a little work ahead of time, is I've cut the lantern, and then I cut the back, the glass for the lantern out of vellum. And then it does give you a triple light bulb. So if you are doing a triple lantern, you'll get your light bulbs all in one cut. And then I just combine those 3 pieces together. You can see there, I just glued the vellum behind the lantern. And oh, you know what? This is so funny. Hang on. I was going to demonstrate that. I remember I didn't put one of them together yet for that exact reason. See y'all. Okay, there's the 3 pieces for the lantern. So all I do is add a little adhesive behind the center part to put the light bulb on. I got a lot of glue on that one. Okay. And then I just need a little glue around the perimeter. Okay. And then that little vellum piece or whatever you choose to cut it out of is sized a little bit smaller than the lantern so that you don't have to be absolutely perfect getting it picked up. Now, what some people like to do is they put the vellum in front of the light bulb so that it's actually kind of frosted glass. And so that sort of depends on how, what your light, you know, how dark a color you chose for your light bulb as to whether or not that would look cool or not. But anyway, you're in charge. All right, so that's how I put the little lantern part together. And then since I want to make these lanterns, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the pole top. Okay. And then instead, I'm going to replace it with that lantern. And this is gunmetal specialty mirror cardstock. So, so funny. How about this, Karen? Why don't you put your wreath on there first? It would not be the first time I forgot to throw the wreath on there first and then had to weave it on there. But if you do remember, if you definitely wanted to have a wreath on there, then put that on before you put the lantern top on because it'll be a lot easier to get it on there. Anyway, so gunmetal. So while I'm waiting for that to set up, we use a lot of specialty cardstocks in, you know, my cards and classes and things like that. And so we've, they come from the paper cut. They're who we like to use for those things. So we have an exact pack now on our website where you can get a lovely little 6x6 paper pack of a lot of the colors that I'm even using tonight. So the gunmetal and the different mirror cards and things like that. And so that's available on our website as well. And that's the exact pack. You know, put in exact pack in the search and you'll find it. Okay, so here's my street lantern put together, and that's the one that I'm just going to throw on the front of the card. So no questions? Nobody's got questions? Mm-hmm. No questions. Okay. All right.
I'm going to keep saying how cool you are.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, yeah. Don't hold back on that. All right. Well, remember I said I shouldn't have glued that all the way down so I could throw that in there. I'm just going to shove it down until it fits. You know, live demo, you know, on the fly. All right. So that's a pretty simple little lead in to that pop-up card, you know, because most of the time these cards are going to be displayed open. That's where all the magic is. So I don't really like to double my work, you know, so I'll do like a simple lead in with leftover materials for my fronts, and then I'll focus most of my energy on the inside of the card. All right, let's make a couple more street lanterns. Now this time, since I am going to make them pop up, yes, so there's a question? Okay, we have a question.
Can you use tiny battery lights with the street lamp?
Oh, yeah, you know what you would use? I would use, that's a good question. The question was, can you use tiny battery lights with a street lantern? Sure, absolutely. Like the easy lights would be great from Pear Blossom Press. And you could bring the wires right up the back of the street lantern to right behind where that light bulb is. And then they would light up. That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be great. A great card. We do have a fan group on Facebook. If you're a Facebook user, it's called Karen Burniston Pop-Up Peeps. And if you join that fan group, there's just tons of inspiration in there. People are posting from just all over the world. Using our dies and things like that, where you're like, oh, has anyone done a pop or a, you know, light up card with a street lantern? And you just throw a question like that up in the peeps. And if someone's done it, they'll show it to you. And if they haven't done it, someone will do it. You know what I mean? Even if it's not you, they're like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. And then a couple days later, someone will have done it. So I'm making 2 more street lanterns in the same way that I did for the first one. And the only change that I'm going to make on these is I'm not putting wreaths on, so I didn't have to put those on first because the swag I can put on afterwards. And then the other thing I'm going to do a little differently is I'm going to go ahead and put some cardstock poles behind there, only because that gunmetal, it's solid-ish, you know. I just want it to be a little bit more solid, since that those are going to pop up. So I don't normally say you have to double your, you know, especially if you were cutting that out of a nice heavy, like a black cardstock, say you were doing a, you know, but if you're doing something like the mirror card where it's not as sturdy as cardstock, then it's a good idea to double it. And that's just for strength, so it wouldn't really even matter what color. But the other reason that I did it out of the gray for the background of this is because this is a top fold card. And with a top fold card, you see a little bit of the back of those lanterns as the card is opening. Not much, but kind of see that you can see the background a little bit. So if it's bright, bright white, which it is when you're using the mirror card, then you may want to back it both for strength and just so that it you know, it's not jarring the color change, you know. So I went ahead and cut the lanterns too out of the gray cardstock, and I'm just going to glue those behind there. Okay, let's see. I actually don't know how I'm doing on time. I have to really pay attention to the time. I think we're okay. Yes. Is there another question? Oh. Okay, this time I'll cut that thing off first. So what else can I tell you while I'm doing this busy work? I live in Houston, Texas. So I work remotely because our company is based in Topeka, Kansas. So that's where the product ships from. And my business partner, Tanya Kostanek, that I talked about before, she kind of handles all of that home office, you know, business side of the business. She's the guru with the business side. And that allows me to focus almost entirely on the creative side. So I do the product development and the education, and handle the design team. And we have a pretty small team. We're not a huge company, but we have a few employees. Sue is our warehouse manager who gets that product out so fast. It's amazing to me. And Karina, she does our social media and our customer service. So if you've ever called our office, you've probably talked to Karina. And then we have Dolores, who helps us make kits and kind of does all sorts of cool stuff for us. So anyway, yes.
I've got two questions.
Two questions.
What glue do you use?
Okay, the glue is Lineco Neutral pH adhesive. I was looking around to see if I have it. Yeah, that's what that looks like. Lineco Neutral pH adhesive is my very favorite. It's just a dries clear PVA glue, and it works wonderfully in our fine tip bottles. So the fine tip bottles are sold empty, so you can put your own glue in them. This is an 18 gauge tip, which allows you to get a pretty fine line, but you do have to have the right kind of glue. Like you wouldn't be able to put like a glossy accents or a zip dry or something too thick in it. It needs to be a glue that'll flow through a needle tip. And what's the second question?
What's the largest number of pieces in one of your die sets?
The largest number of pieces? Oh, some trivia. There are, how many are in the mini ball? Mini ball's got a lot. Mini ball's got 20. Mini ball's got 20.
Middle ball?
It's the tiny one. It's the little one. We'll get to the ball dies after we get our demo done. Okay, so now let's talk about putting the pieces together. And the other thing too is like, just we were talking about how many pieces are in a die set. What I like to do is I like to design a pop-up die with enough decorator dies included that you can make a cool, card even with just that die set. And of course, we'll try and sell you some more dies. You know, there's all sorts of really cool things that will coordinate with it. But we want you to be able to, if that's your only purchase, that you have the pieces you need to make a complete card just with that die set. So, in that street lantern, it's not going to be just the pieces to make the street lantern. It's going to come with swag and bow and a wreath. So it's going to add some extra pieces. Okay, so the pop-up die that comes in that set is a simple box pop-up. All right, so it gets die cut. It will cut it and it will score it. It will score it in 3 locations. And there is an arrow stencil feature on that die. So after you die cut it, you can take a pen right through the die and draw that arrow onto your piece. Now you don't have to do that, especially if you get real familiar with the dies and you don't need that anymore, but it can be real helpful when you're first starting out to remember which side you're going to glue down. We're going to glue that arrow side down. So that it doesn't matter what color, it doesn't matter if it's permanent, it doesn't matter. There are 3 score lines in the die. And since I used pattern paper, I cheated and found them ahead of time because I was afraid on the live video that I'd be sitting there searching for the 3 score lines. But all 3 of those score lines are going to fold away from you. And you're going to make essentially what looks like kind of a little box out of those pop-ups. All right. You only need 1 to pop up a street lantern, but we're doing a kind of a double pop-up tonight. So we're going to add a second set where we can pop up a bit of snow in front of that and put our tiny gnomes on it. Okay, so we want to glue that arrow panel down on the floor of the card so that it butts right up to the fold. And wherever you want your street lantern to go. So what you can do if you've already got your street lantern put together, and why don't I throw a swag in that so I know exactly how wide it is. So I'm going to take one of those glitter swags that I cut, and I'm going to, let's do it this way. It's different ways that you can weave those onto the street lantern, but my favorite is probably putting the ends through like this. Okay, so now I've got one that has the swagging because that adds to the width. Then I can lay that face down on the card, and I can make sure that it stays in the card when it's closed over here. And then that will give me the location. Let me see if I can find a pencil. Of course, every single thing on mine has to do a pen. So it looks like I need to put that pop-up right there. Okay, and then I'm just going to use the same one over here. All right, because it won't be any different. So I need to put it right there. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to glue that arrow end down into the card so that the end butts right up to the fold of the card. Okay, so it doesn't cross it, but butts right up to it. Okay, and I'll do another one while I'm in the business. I'll just work on both of them at the same time. So I'm doing the arrow end, the wide end, right over my pencil or pen line, right up to the fold line of the card. Okay. All right. So this little simple box pop-up, if you got this die set, it can be used for more than just a street lantern. It can be used to pop up anything. So anything you glue to the front of it will pop up. So, you have that as a simple pop-up. So there's 3 folds in it, 1, 2, 3. And we want the middle one is where we want to fold it down so that now it's lying flat on top, and then we're going to add some adhesive on the other end here. The last panel on each one. So you can kind of see that. All right, now I just got to keep these flat while I close this card against that exposed adhesive. And the nice thing about even a demo like this is you can go watch the YouTube video on it if you wanted more instruction or ideas and things like that. Oh, sorry, a little humid today. Give that a second. Okay, so then when it pops up, that's all it does. It just makes a simple little pop-up. And this one just happens to be sized perfectly to fit those street lanterns. So if I add adhesive here to the front, okay, and then I can take, I've got one that's got its swag on. Let me get the swag on the other one here. Okay, so I'm gonna go like this, weave it around this side, weave it around. Okay, I'm gonna lay that one down in front of this one in front of this one. I'm gonna do one of this. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You know what? I'm just gonna bring it up to it. Usually I like to close against it, but that'll be hard to hold them both in place. So I'll just press them to the front. Either way, that's a small little surface. So let me see how I did there. Okay, cool. They're staying in the card. And then I've got 2 street lanterns popping up. Okay. And then my thought was, wouldn't it be fun if there was a swag that actually connected between the 2? So just going to put some adhesive on the ends, and I'm going to get that swag in there attached to the other 2. So pretty cool. There is a little set of bows in the die set that'll cut 2 of them. I cut that enough time so I'd have a bow for the middle of the swag here, which I could have added first and probably should have because that's glitter paper. Okay, yeah, you get the idea. There's even a little, well, no, the snowflake came out of the tiny gnomes, but there is a little snowflake in the tiny gnomes. And since I'm using the tiny gnomes tonight, I think I'll add a little snowflake here to the top of my street lantern as well. You see how that card's coming together. Okay, before I add more bows, or maybe I won't even add more bows, let's talk about how you could double your pop-up and have a second layer of pop-up. So that's what kind of the technique I'm going to show next is we're going to use that pop-up again on the front of the street lanterns, and then they're going to be used to pop up the snow. Okay, so we're going to, this time, we're still going to put the adhesive on the arrow end, but I'm actually going to glue it to the front of the street lantern, lined up with the bottom of the card. Okay. All right, so I'm trying to make this box go up and over. So I'm going to lay this kind of on its back here to where I can get those two pop-ups folded down into their flat position. And I add adhesive on the other end. Okay, and this is a little fiddly, of course, because I've got to try and keep those flat while I close that card. But then it'll pick up the ends and it'll add an extra pop-up. Oh my gosh, I got so crooked on this one. Hang on. It's the only thing about gluing to mirror cardstock. It doesn't keep the same schedule as me. Okay. So it's popping up. Here we go. All right, be nice to me because I have people watching. There it goes. Okay. So now I have another set of pop-ups attached to the front of the street lantern, and then that can be used to pop up the hill of snow. So adhesive on the fronts of those pop-ups, lay the hill down flat in front of them. Okay, and then I'll just close the card. And we'll pick it up. There you go. Isn't that cool? All right, so now we're going to move to a decorator die. What are we doing on time? Okay, I think I have until, Brandy, you may have to remind me. I have until, she told me I had 40 minutes, so I think I have 10 minutes.
Yeah, you have, let's see, you got a little bit more than 10 minutes.
I do? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. All right, because I wondered if I was going to have time to demonstrate that stamping feature on that die, but I think I do, so I'm going to show you that. Okay, so like I said earlier, we're actually not a die. We're not a stamp company. We're a die company, but we do have a few pieces and a few dies that actually have a cool coating on them and an extra layer so that they become stamping dies. So what I mean by that is on this little tiny gnome set, yeah, it says right here, die and stamp all in one. What that means is that there's at least one piece, sometimes more than one, that are stamping dies. So the stamping dies for this tiny gnome set are the braids and the beard and mustache. So those dies actually have an extra layer in them with a pattern that shows up if you ink it when you run it through your machine. And then they have a special coating on them that allows them to accept that ink. So if you don't use ink, they're still usable. They just press, and I'm sure you probably can't see that, that's way too small, but they just press the pattern into the piece. So you'll kind of have a debossed pattern. But then if you ink them, you'll get a really cool pattern on it. So the same thing with the mustache and the beard. If you don't ink it, you still get the lines. They're just debossed into the piece. But then if you ink it, it'll turn up more. So let's see. Grab on a little die cutting machine here because that one's perfect for doing small stuff. And let's, you know what, we'll do the braids. The braids will really turn up really nice, but you'll get the idea on both of them. Oh, yes.
Do you have any classes coming up?
Yes, we do have classes coming up. So I teach, we actually have a spotlight workshop in December. It's on December 3rd. And the kits just went up for sale on that, like this week on our website. So when you go to KarenBurniston.com, under the shop thing, you can hit kits and classes and you can see that spotlight workshop. So that's completely YouTube based. You buy a kit, you get a really detailed handout and a link to a prep work video. And then the class debuts, on a certain day, but it's on YouTube, so you can watch it at any time. And then I also do Zoom classes. The other 2 months I'll do Zoom classes, and those are through some of our stores. Our stores make the kits for those. They're always the first Saturday of the month. And again, if you will either join our newsletter off of our website, or if you join our pop-up peeps, then you'll always get notified about classes when they're coming up and things. It's so funny. I grabbed my, oh, there it is. It's like I put this aside so I'd have it for tonight and then I couldn't find it. All right. So it doesn't matter what ink you use on these dies when you want to ink them up. You can even use a brush marker. So if you had, it's too far away for me to reach, but if you had a brush marker, you could brush the ink on them. If you're using a big ink pad like this, you kind of want to save your fingers. And so a tool that we offer, but you might already own if you're a person that does glimmering, is the Spellbinder's magnetic pickup tool, because you can pick that off of your thing. So see, you're not getting any of that ink on your fingers. And then you're just going to transfer it over to your cardstock that's on your die cutting machine. And this is going to do it all in one. So it's going to cut it and it's going to stamp it all at one time. I'm going to close that up. And like I said, I just grabbed a brown ink pad. This one happens to be Stampin' Up, but a brand doesn't really matter on that. Okay. And apparently I got it very, very juicy. So we'll have to see how this turns out, but it's just paper. Yeah, I really got a lot of contrast on that one, but you can see how that just stamps that pattern right on there. And then for cleanup, no chemicals or anything, just a rag and some water. So, oops, show that on the thing. So it'll just take that ink off. And then it's ready for the next time. So, okay, so stamping die. So Tiny Gnomes has a couple little pieces in there that are stamping. All right, now, the idea with our little animal sets and our gnomes and things like that is that you can make a cute little character for your card that doesn't have to be stamped. I mean, obviously we stamp the braids and stuff, but they're made by putting, pieces together. So it's a little, they're small, but they go together pretty quickly. So let's see, we've got, let's do her first. So let's see, where's her body? So she's going to get a green body. And then what I did for the die that cuts the head, the hands, and the nose is I just put double-sided adhesive tape on the back before die cutting so that would be a sticker. So I'm going to put her head right there on the top of her body. Okay, then she's going to get a hat. And there's 2 hats in the set, but I'm going to give them both the curled hat that's more kind of elf-like. And I already put the little jingle bells on the end. So there's jingle bells for when you're doing Christmas gnomes that you can cut. I cut it out of that gunmetal. And then back to this piece again, there's the nose. Okay, and I like to have that nose go right over the top of the hat a little bit. Oh, I forgot to put her braids in. Yeah, I forgot to put her braids in. Okay, that's fine. Get them in there. Should have put her braids on first. Okay, now let's put that hat on. That's a little better there. Okay, so she's probably stuck to my table. Yes, I see there's a question.
It wasn't exactly a question. We were wondering if, like, what kind of inks you can use. Like, do they have to be water-based? Or?
I mean, I only really use water-based ink with them. I don't think that there's a problem if you use like your oxides or a pigment ink. It's just more that the dye ink just dries fast. So I use distress ink on them, or honestly, I've used several different ink pads on them. All the ones that I've used have been dye ink, but I don't know that I can say that that's a requirement. You know what I mean? I went ahead and cut a second head for each one, only because I don't want the head to be a sticker since she's in the popped up position. So I wanted the sticker for the nose and the hands, but I didn't really want the sticker for the head, but they're all in the same die. You can kind of have fun with where you put her hands. She doesn't really need hands, though. She's going to be hidden. Like I said, there's other dies that have the stamp feature on them. But yeah, I don't really think it matters what. And if there's little bows too, if you want to put bows in her hair, a little quick stick like this can be real helpful for picking up little small pieces and moving them. Okay, there she is, and she's going to. I didn't give her shoes or hands because I was going to put her behind the snow hill. So then it doesn't really matter, you know. Okay, so you hang out there for a second and let's do him. All right, so for him, I like to make him a little taller. And the way I make him taller is I put the beard on first to the body, because the head doesn't have to touch the body. It just has to touch the beard. So now I can, once again, I'm going to make that head not a sticker by putting another one behind it. And then, yeah, okay. And then we'll just glue at the bottom here and put the head on. You don't see much of the head on the bearded gnome. And he's going to get a mustache. And he's going to get a hat. I'm kind of speeding through this because I'm going to be able to show you some other cards. Okay. And then he's going to get a nose. You can ink all those, you know, like ink the edges and stuff if you wanted to. The little hands are kind of essence of hands, meaning that they, you know, that doesn't do arms or anything, just does hands. So you put the hands on if you want to, wherever you'd like them to go. They can hold things. It looks cute if he holds a snowflake. You know, you could have him holding that snowflake that comes in the set would be really cute. Or the snowflake could go on the hat, which is I think what I did for this one. Let's just throw that snowflake on his hat there. Sorry, I'm being a little sloppy because I'm. And then there is a set of shoes. He might be shoeless tonight because I don't see his shoes on. Oh, they're there. So again, shoes are optional, but they are sized there to go at the bottom. So anyway, he's a cutie little patootie. All right, and then he would just glue right here to the front. So let's glue him on, something like this. We'll glue her on. Maybe up a little bit so you can see her heart. And ta-da. Oh, I guess I gave her the green body this time and him the, I guess he had the red body in my original. So anyway, that's that. So that's the demo of how to use those dies to make that pop-up card. I know I probably don't have much time left, but I did want to just show you a few cards of other things that we offer. So let's start first with some other ideas using those dies that I showed tonight. So here's that street lantern done as a triple. You know, it really does make a nice thing. Oh, do I need to bail?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. I was just commenting on the beautiful card.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. I'll kind of blaze through them a little bit. How many? What's my time count? How much time
You got about 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Oh, awesome. You know how many cards I can show you in 4 minutes? Here's the street lantern came out at the same time as the garden bench. And so there are kind of a lot of samples of the street lantern used with the garden bench. Is a really nice combination. So that's the garden bench pop-ups. That's another one. Here's a garden bench fall. You know, you could definitely do that wreath and stuff out of fall colors. Here's one with a triple lantern. In fact, actually, this was the inspiration card for the card I made tonight. I had done this one in the video. So if you liked the card we made tonight and wanted it to go a little slower, you could go watch the video for this card. I think is on our YouTube channel. Another thing you can do with that swag from the street lantern is you can make a wreath out of it, and you can use the pieces that we cut out of vellum as bells. So here's one with 2 lanterns next to a garden bench. Since you're in charge of your card size, you can just make bigger cards if you want to put more pop-ups in. You can make some pretty fun things. Doesn't have to be Christmas, obviously. It goes year round. So here's a cute little hello card, same tiny gnomes sitting in the bench garden or the thing. Oh, and then there's a little bonus idea that's on the video for the tiny gnomes, which is you can make Christmas carolers out of them. So that's the mustache from the used to make a little Christmas caroler. And then
my goodness, that's so cute.
This was made by Fran on our design team. Here's one with garden bench and tiny gnomes. And okay, you get the idea. Tiny gnomes, garden bench, street lantern, they all go great together. Okay, let's look at some other cards. All right, you mentioned the ball dies. We're probably very well known for these. They come in 3 different sizes. This will be the easiest way for you to see all 3 sizes. This will be one of my class cards from last weekend, which is yeah, so that's the little, those are the 3 sizes of ball dies that we have. And then we have all sorts of accessories to turn them into different little characters.
That's so cute.
In fact, I did a video last week where I loved this gingerbread paper. So I was like, well, how would the snowman look if we made him gingerbread? So we made a little gingerbread snowman and he kind of spins around in the card.
I was totally not expecting that. I haven't seen it before.
Yeah, we have, and then, different, like here's one that's a little lion, and you can, I grabbed this one because it had the tiny gnomes in it that we used tonight. Made a little window card where you can see the tiny gnomes through it, and then they're all attached to the
Cute.
ball. So you don't have to stack them together and make them into animals and snowmen and stuff. You can do other
Oh my
things.
goodness.
But let me show you those dies real quick. So there's 3 sizes. Is there a question? No. Oh, okay. There's the surprise ball, the bitty ball, and the mini ball. So those are the 3 sizes that you see here on the snowman.
I have a comment. The bitty ball should be the smallest.
Yes, that's true. Ash says the bitty ball should be the smallest, but we didn't know that we were going to do a 3rd size. So things you can make out of them: snowman, pig, fox, cat. That's an animal add-on set. Hippo, elephant, giraffe. There's one for a penguin, a reindeer, a moose. Then we got little characters. You can make Halloween characters, little Jack Pumpkin heads and things.
Oh
And then
my
this one,
goodness.
Santa and Mrs. Claus. People always like this one. Let me show you.
That's so cute.
Yeah, they're cute. So you can make all sorts of stuff with our ball dies. And so those are on the website too. And I got time for any more cards. Let me see.
Yeah.
Favorite little stack here, or ones that people like. People love our photo collage pop-up. It's one of our most popular die sets. What it makes is this collage of
Oh my God.
photos that you can fill with photos. You don't have to fill it with photos, but you can fill it with whatever you want. Including just, maybe our charm sets or some of your favorite stamps or things. So people love the photo collage pop-up. In fact,
Wow.
people love the photo collage so much that we actually came out with a die set that's like the photo collage, but sized for slimline cards. And that is our heart collage pop-up. And so this one works very, very similar to the photo collage, but it's sized down, and it's for a top fold card, and it comes with all these hearts. And you can make a cool little collage out of that.
Wow.
And then there's add-on sets where you can get butterflies for it.
Look at that.
You can get balloons for it. So the whole idea of the brand is that everything coordinates together. We're trying to give you a cool foundation and then give you all sorts of stuff to decorate it.
Oh my gosh, Karen, I'm like totally impressed. How did you figure all that out?
All 3 sizes.
Oh, good question. I'm sorry, Brandy. Ash was telling me a question at the same time. I'll answer the question Ash just gave me too, so I don't forget. Do you have to have all 3 balls to make a snowman? No, you could make the snowman out of the same size ball, or you could do a 2, people do that all the time. They make 2, ball snowman. I know how that sounds. It sounds awful. I know. I'm being laughed at in the room. Sorry, y'all. So yes, if you could do it however you want. Some people only have 1 size, so they do. You can see the Santa and Mrs. Claus. They're made from the same ball size for the head and the body. Both of those using the medium one, the bitty ball. But all the add-ons and stuff, they pretty much work with all of them. So you can adjust that. And Brandy, what was your question?
I was just going to say I'm completely amazed and wondering how the heck did you figure all that out?
Well, I've always loved pop-up cards. I do have a degree in civil engineering. People usually ask me that, are you an engineer? I do have an engineering background, but actually the pop-ups came before the engineering. So I can't really, blame it on that. But yeah, I do have a background in engineering.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that's amazing. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I'm curious if you have any dies that have that look like the boxes, that the explosion boxes.
Yeah. You mean so like a cube that would pop out of a box or something like that?
Or just a cube you open and then it all sort of
Oh, okay.
explodes.
I see what you're saying. So funny you should ask that. And that wasn't a setup, y'all. So you know what? I'm gonna put myself back on the overhead here. I just, as part of with that snowman last weekend, I also taught this idea for sending someone which someone in the peeps had done it first. I can't take credit for the idea of filling a box with white pop-up balls and making a snowball fight in a box. But so we made this box, and I will do a YouTube video on this, by the way, because I usually do, if some people can't take the classes, and so usually after a class, if it's been something that's been really popular, I'll put a version of it on YouTube. But so this one is a little, snowball fight in a box. So you could send that to somebody, and then when it opens, sorry, I just flung snowballs at Ash.
That is adorable. That's not
yeah.
what I was thinking about, but that is very clever.
Okay, I apologize. I thought that's what you were saying, but yeah. So yeah, that's I don't have any idea. Are we out of time? Are we at more?
Yes, we are out of time.
We're out of time. Okay, I thought so.
All right, so let's do this. We have some giveaways. I'm going to show everybody what you have sent me to give away. And we have this little packet here. We've got, this one is the Merry Christmas. And is that a halo die as
That's
well?
the shadow that fits the Merry Christmas. The Merry Christmas is probably in there too. Those look like the dies that we use tonight. Yeah.
Yes.
So you could win a set to just make this card. Yep.
And then there's the gnomes. Oh my God, I love gnomes. And then is this what you used for that snow?
Yep. Tanya did good. She used all the dies from tonight.
Yep. And then, yay. Awesome. All right. So one lucky winner is going to get this prize pack and get to recreate the card that you created. And definitely, if you do make it, I want to see the examples. So be sure to post and tag Cardmaker Success Summit, as well as what's your hashtag, Karen?
Karen Burniston brand. So
Karen
you can
brand.
On awesome. Instagram or
cool.
Yeah, or just at Karen Burniston works too. But Karen Burniston brand gets the company up. So
awesome. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and draw for that winner. And the winner of that is going to Jennifer. Last name starts with an R and ends with an S. Yay.
Congratulations, Jennifer.
Yeah, so we will be emailing all of our winners from all of the giveaways today on Monday. Be sure to check your email. If you think you have won, please do not email us over the weekend. We will not respond to those emails. And you have 72 hours to respond. Otherwise, we're going to do a redraw. And sorry, I just saw Harriet was texting something to me. We're going to do a redraw for all the folks that did not respond and did not claim their prizes. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Karen. This has been a pleasure, and I love seeing what you've got going on over there. I think they're extremely unique and interesting. And, you know, I have sometimes a problem looking at a die set or even sometimes a stamp set on a catalog, and they look so flat and it's hard to imagine what it's going to look like. So I'm super excited that you demonstrated how to make it and make, you know, it's a lot less intimidating than I had it in my head. So I'm really glad that you were here.
Well, thank you. It was fun.
Awesome. Well, we hope you come back, and we'll be in touch. So thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you. Bye,
All
everyone.
right. Bye-bye. Oh my gosh, wasn't that fun? I have got to look into that snowball fight. I think that would be so perfect to make and give as little, you know, like stocking stuffers or whatever. It just would be hilarious. So fun. All right, so Harriet has put up the link on the screen to go to see all of the products that we have demonstrated today. Make sure you check out all of those promo codes and click through the specific links. You get access to those promo codes. And I just want to take a few minutes to show again some of the graphics from the promo codes that we have shared today. So earlier today, we had Polkadoodles, and Polkadoodles is giving a 25% off your order if you use that code. Make sure you go to stampmesomelove.com/Polkadoodles. And she's also doing a lot of extra giveaways there, so definitely check that out. All right, then we have LDRS. LDRS is also giving a 20% off code when you use the code CMSS November 20. Prickly Pear's got a 20% off. Make sure you use that code SAVE20. Catherine Pooler, she's got a $5 off of your purchase, and there is a promo code there of Java Fix. Tonic Studios has a $20 off, and I just love all of those Nuvo drops, and I've been smelling my aroma drops all afternoon. And then we've got one from Colorado Craft. So be sure to check out those promos that are going to be listed on the Shop the Demo Day. I also want to remind you all that if you were interested in learning how to be a successful craft content creator, I do have a master class that I added a few more times this week. So you might want to check that out. And that is at stampmesomelove.com/masterclass. The class is about an hour and a half, and I go through the 4-step framework on what I do every day in my business to become a successful craft content creator and make some money doing this wonderful thing we call crafting. All right, you guys, I think that is it. I'll be sending a link out a little bit later this evening with links to all the replays and information about all of the promo codes that we shared. And Harriet is reminding me that I forgot I was going to give some VIP all access passes away. Thank you, Harriet. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to do 3 of them. I want to see in the comments who is interested in getting a VIP all access pass to the next summit, which, by the way, is February 23rd through the 26th. It is coming up fast. All right, so let's go ahead and do some giveaways for our VIP all access pass. Our first winner is going to be Teresa, and last name starts with an L and ends with an R. Our next VIP All Access Pass winner will be Virginia. Last name starts with an E, ends with an N. And our last winner is Linda. And Linda's last name starts with a W and ends with an N. I hope you guys have had a fabulous time. I have enjoyed watching everybody's presentation, and it's just been so much fun. You know, I enjoy seeing everybody's comments and everybody interacting. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you in February. All right. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.